Let's see if I can share my screen here. Okay, can my screen show up on there? You see it? Perfect. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining us. We are excited to have you guys with us today. This is our 4-part series that we're putting together for you all for this semester. It's a series of workshops, and today we're hosting our part 1, which is called Transfer 101. And the goal of the workshop today is to provide you all with some tools that you can use as you are looking to transfer over to a university. So the idea is that if you're looking to go to a university, we know that it could be intimidating and even overwhelming. That whole process can be a little scary in itself. And so we're hoping that today we can give you guys some tools, some resources that you can use that will help kind of ease that transfer process for you. And then we can also highlight some of the resources that you have available to you on our Morton College website, because we have been updating some of those resources on our website as well. So I want to highlight some of the things that you all have access to just right off of our website. We will have another advisor joining us here shortly. So this will be kind of a 2-team presentation. My name is Rudy Yanez. I am one of the advisors here at Morton College and will be one of the presenters here with you today. I am an academic advisor, and I've been doing this now for a little over 3 years. And I've been focusing mainly on working with students who are looking to transfer to a university. And so we kind of put these workshops together with the idea of a student who is looking to transfer and some of the questions that they might have. And so to kind of give you a glimpse into some of these other workshops, the next workshop topic is going to be revolved around scholarships. A lot of the question marks usually revolve around cost and how can I get some scholarships. And so we're going to do a 2-part series after this one. Part 1 is going to be how to look for scholarships. We're going to give you some tools that you can use on databases on where to find some scholarships. And then the second part of that workshop is going to be on how to write a scholarship letter. So you will actually be able to have a template that you can use as a scholarship letter to be able to then kind of just tailor it to any scholarships that you're going to be applying to in the future. So that's a 2-part series for scholarships. And then that'll be workshops 2 and 3. And then our 4th workshop is going to be on how to read an award letter. So after you've done your research on your university, once you've applied, once you've been accepted, right? The next step is you get an award letter from a university. And this award letter can have a lot of information on it. It can be a little confusing to read. And so our last workshop will focus on helping you kind of understand what is in an award letter, how to read the award letter, and just how to take away that important information so that you can make a better informed decision on the university you want to transfer to. And so those are kind of our 4 workshops for the semester. We hope that you all will be able to join us. We are hosting these workshops on Wednesdays, and they will all be at noon. You will be getting information through your email and seeing it on our website, promoting these workshops as the dates get closer. But today, let's jump into our topic. I know we have a few participants here today, and just on the bottom of this, you have a little like emoji reaction here. So give me like a thumbs up or a clap of hands or something if you know that you want to transfer to a university, or if you are thinking about transferring to a university, just to kind of get an idea of where you all are at. So if you could give me a little emoji. I see one. Nice. Okay, so we've got 1 out of there, 2, 3. Nice. Okay, cool. So these are going to be recorded sessions. Hopefully, I think we're recording these so that we can then, yes, they are being recorded. You can always go back and reference these resources. We do have this information on our website, but I want you all to catch a glimpse of how to use this info. So maybe as you're on your computer, you can follow along. Let me go right into it. So we're talking about transferring, right? And most students, when they are looking to transfer, their biggest question is when they're undecided is, well, how do I pick the right school, right? And that's a valid question, a valid concern. I was a transfer student myself. I had to go from one school to another, and it was a process, right? And so I had to decide like what was important for me. Was it going to be how much the cost was? Was it going to be where the location was, right? The size of the school. Did I feel comfortable there? There was a lot of things. So you kind of see in this little word cloud some of the different things that students usually look for. You see location being really big on there, major, the size of the school, right? And so these are some of the things that are very important to look into when you're looking to transfer into a university. And so the first resource that I want to show you all is called College Navigator. Okay, this comes from the National Center for Education Statistics. And it's a really cool website to use. So I am actually going to go on the website here and show you how easy it is to navigate. Let's see here. We got College Navigator. So if you're taking notes, jot this one down. If you got a little notepad there, College Navigator is a great resource for you to identify what schools are in the area, right? And so sometimes we'll get students that come into our office and they'll say, well, I know I want to transfer. I'm just not sure where I want to go. What schools do you recommend? And that's a tough one for us to answer, right? Because we could recommend till we're blue in the face, but you have to find the right fit for you. So College Navigator kind of helps you narrow that down. So for example here, right, we know we want to stay in Illinois. So we're going to select Illinois, not Hawaii, Illinois. And then we are in Cicero, so we'll put 60608. And usually students know about how far they want to be, right? Some students know, I want to get away, take me as far as I possibly can. And then some students are like, I need to be relatively close to my home still, right? And so we can put a radius here, like a range. And just for the sake of things, maybe we expand the list a little bit. Let's say we want to go 200 miles out, like that's the farthest we'll go. And then we know we want to look for a bachelor's degree. We're interested in either a public or a private institution. We want it to be a 4-year. And then you can even specialize on a major. So let's say you don't know what school, but you know what major, you know you want to stay in Illinois. It has a cool little feature here where you can select different majors. And so let's just select architecture here. Okay, architecture tells you right here, these little numbers, how many schools in Illinois within your radius offer this architecture major. So architecture is not offered at every single university. So let's say here, they give us 4 schools. We're going to add the subject of architecture, and then we're going to hit show results. And so what this shows you is a list of schools that are in Illinois that are within 200 miles of this zip code we put in there. It's a bachelor's degree institution. They're either going to be public or private. If you look at the list for architecture, you've got UIC, IIT, there's Judson University in Elgin, and then you have U of I in Champaign, right? So if I was interested in architecture, if I didn't really know where I wanted to go, but I knew architecture was my major that I wanted, this is a good way for you to be able to like narrow down your search. Or if you're undecided on a major, just select a range and say, I just know I want to stay within Illinois, be within 200 miles of my home. What are my options, right? And so College Navigator is kind of that first step into you being able to like identify what are some of these schools that you could look into. And if preferably you have a major, then you can make it more specific and look for the university that offers the major that you want. So the first one is College Navigator. Okay, so take a note of that one. That one's a pretty cool one to kind of help you start identifying what are some schools that I can look into. And we limited this one to Illinois. You can see you can pick any schools. If you guys want to go to Hawaii and study, you can click Hawaii, see what universities are there, see what majors the universities offer. And this one, when you click on it, each university will then lead to like a little snapshot of the university, so you can get a quick glimpse of the university itself. So it'll give you some general information here. Tabs, right? You can go through if you're interested in that university and learning a little bit more about it. So that's College Navigator. So that's kind of as far as I go with the research. College Navigator, it's kind of a good starting point for you to identify some schools. College Navigator is the first one. The second resource is called College Scoreboard. Okay. And so in College Navigator, we identified the school and we said we might be interested in going into some of these schools because they fit the range we're looking for, the degree that we're looking for, right? And so let's say you're stuck between choosing between one school or another, between deciding if this major at this school is better than that major at that school. College Scoreboard is a cool little resource that'll help you compare schools, compare the schools, compare the majors, and a lot of other information that you can compare. So let's say we're on College Scoreboard. You are interested in architecture still. You looked at those schools and you were interested in learning about the difference between UIC and IIT, which are the two schools that offer architecture. Out of those four, I went ahead and already entered the schools. All you would need to do here, this one's pretty cool actually too. So let's just say you wanted to look up a different school. You can put Southern Illinois University. Let's see where it takes us here. Okay, so once this page loads up, it's going to pull up some information on Southern Illinois University. And it's going to be this one here, Carbondale. You can click on view more details. And then once this page loads up here, we'll be able to see the information that you get to see. So you'll see they have general information on what kind of school it is, the city, what kind of size it is. You get graduation rate info, salary information, annual cost. And then you get to specifically select a degree here if you were interested in a specific degree and getting information on that. So I, ahead of the presentation, added some schools already. And so if we look at how to compare, you would go to this little feature up here. Once you've added the schools, you can compare your schools. Let's see how this looks like. So you've identified the schools you were interested in. You're undecided between a few different options, and then you want to compare them to find out which one might be the best fit for you. Right? And this is where College Scoreboard comes in. Selected two schools that you're in between. In this case, we're looking at UIC and IIT. And once this loads up, we'll be able to see the comparison here so you can see what this looks like. Okay, here it is. Okay, so we're comparing, okay, just reloaded. Here we go again. I'm gonna let this load up here. All right, so what I really like about this feature is that the number one concern usually for most folks is how much is it gonna cost, right? Like how much am I gonna spend to actually go to this university? And the very first thing that you get here is this average annual cost. What I like about it is that it doesn't give you the actual sticker price, right? So what I mean by sticker price is like when you see on their website the tuition cost, you usually see this huge number. And then students often get intimidated because they see it's like, oh my gosh, $40,000 to go to IIT. That's the sticker price. That's usually what nobody ends up paying ever, right? And so this annual cost here, you break down, it gives you the cost that includes the tuition, includes the living costs, your books, your supplies, minus the average grants and scholarships that students usually get, right? And so it's totaling up all your costs, but then it's telling you on an average, this is what students usually get awarded. And so then that cost that you see there is an average of what students usually have to pay out of pocket on an annual basis. So if you're comparing UIC and IIT in this scenario, you can see that at UIC, you'd be looking at about $13,000 for the year out of pocket as an annual average cost. And if you look at IIT, it would cost you about 21,000, right? So right off the bat, you're able to kind of compare price-wise, which one would cost you more, right? And if you actually know a little bit about IIT and their universities, you'll know that they're pretty expensive. And so their sticker price really is around $40,000. But you see what we have here is more like 21,000 out of pocket. Why? Because they end up giving you these grants and these scholarships. As an average student, you might be able to bring that cost down to about halfway, right? And this is average. So some students come here and do really well. And if you've got a really good GPA, these universities oftentimes have a little bit more money to be able to give you if you've done really well. So that cost of attendance actually gets really lowered as opposed to having to pay that sticker price. Other quick things you get in this snapshot is the school's graduation rate, which is really important, right? How many of your students are graduating? If I attend your university, what are the percentages? What is the chances of me actually graduating? So you'll see the graduation rates. You get a snapshot of the salaries that you might be earning if you complete a degree from this university. You see there's a little bit of a difference here with these two schools. Again, this is for architecture. And so you get to, oh, this is another cool feature. It's for financial aid. If you're eligible for financial aid, you're able to kind of get a snapshot on like how much financial aid is usually awarded to students, how much financial aid is usually needed to take out in loans by students, right? So if you already have an idea of your financial aid situation, you might be able to get an idea using this snapshot of how much you might actually be earning through financial aid and how much you might actually need to still pay out of pocket. So college scoreboard scorecard is a great resource for you to compare schools. If you're looking between 2 or 3 different schools, actually compare up to 10 different schools. And it can be in-state, it can be out of state. It's open to just about every university in the country here. So these are the first two, right? So what did we do so far? We've used College Navigator to sort of identify what some schools are in our areas that we might be interested in. And then College Scorecard helps us to compare the schools that we are interested in to get an annual cost, how much it might cost, and graduation rates, information like that about the school, right? And so now you've decided that you're in between these two schools and maybe in between a major or two. And your next step is trying to figure out, well, how do I figure out the classes that I've taken at Morton and if they're going to be able to transfer to my university that I plan on going to? That's usually a popular question, is how do I know what's going to transfer over? And let me see if we have, okay. So we've got 2 resources now. The next resource that you're going to add to your tool belt is called Transferology. I just covered 2, the College Navigator and the college scorecard. And out of those two, give me a thumbs up or a clap of hands if you've ever heard of any of those two resources. I don't see any thumbs up. Give me a, okay, we have one. Give me, let me see, a thumbs up or anything if you felt like those are resources that might be able to help you choose a university. Cool, cool, perfect. So we have the next resource I want to show you is how many of you have heard of Transferology? If you heard of Transferology, let me get a thumbs up. Transferology, we got 1, 2, perfect. 3, actually, all you all have it here. Transferology is another cool resource that all students should have an account for if you're looking to transfer. And let me show you what Transferology looks like here. Okay. Okay, so actually use. So most of you here who are on the call already are familiar with Transferology. We have two parts to Transferology. There's the regular Transferology that all students can create an account for. And then as an academic advisor, we have access to Transferology Lab. And so Transferology Lab is a little bit different. So since you all have Transferology probably accounts, I'm gonna show you what the Transferology Lab looks like. All right. Let me see here. Transferology Lab. And all of you should be able to unmute yourselves, I think. You should be able to, or if you have a question, you know, put it in the chat or raise your hand and I can try to unmute you. But if any of this stuff you have a question about, feel free to just unmute yourself. But this is Transferology Lab. And just to kind of give you an overview in case you don't know about Transferology, Transferology is a source where you can find out how your credits will transfer from Morton College to other schools. And on the student side, you're able to basically like enter your Morton College credits. So if you took English 101, if you took Math 102, excuse me, you can put those classes in Transferology and then select a university and it'll tell you how your classes match, like if they're able to transfer over, so you can find out equivalence. On our end, on the advising side, we're able to do something very similar with the Transferology equivalencies. So let's just select UIC as University of Illinois at Chicago, transferring from, what is this? Not reading it. There it is, you select it. And then we get to put the college that we're looking to compare it to. So we're transferring to UIC from Morton College. And this is what we're able to see here. So let's say you're at Morton College and you are taking our English 101 and you're trying to figure out what is English 101 at UIC. I want to make sure I have it complete, and it gives you the direct transfer. So you'll see English 101 is ENGL 160 at UIC, right? So this is a cool tool in case you're looking to figure out equivalencies. That's one of the features we have. And then we also have these programs that we can run. So if you have an advisor here and you're working with one of us to try to figure out, hey, if I'm going to this university and this is the major I'm going to, can you give me something that I can make a plan with to make sure I take all the right classes needed for that program? And so we have these, I already selected some of these programs here. So let's just give an example here of mechanical engineering. You're a student at Morton, you want to go to UIC, and you're interested in mechanical engineering. This is a Transferology report that we are able to share with students, and it gives you a lot of basic information here, transfer guidelines, but the big part of the program here is that it gives you an exact layout of the courses that you can maximize while you're here at Morton to transfer over. And so this is how you would read something like this on the Transferology report. Everything in red is a specific requirement that they ask for. So here they're asking for university writing requirement, and they want you to have academic writing 1 and 2, and then they list them below. And in black is going to be the UIC course codes. So ENGL 160, we already know is our ENG 101. Anything in green on this report is our Morton College code. So if you see something in green in any of these categories that are under the red labels, it's a class that we offer, and it's a class that you can transfer over to this university for that major, right? So here's English 1, here's English 2. And then if we just keep scrolling down here, this whole program basically lays out all the courses that we possibly could take here, anything in green, if we're trying to transfer to UIC and if we're interested in going for mechanical engineering, right? And so if you already know the university you're planning to go to, if you already know the major you're planning to go into, then I would recommend meeting with your advisor here at Morton, trying to get one of these Transferology Lab reports. And it just makes your planning that much more easier here at Morton, because now you're not guessing like, what should I take next semester? It's already laid out for you on this report. So it's a great piece to know about and have as well for your planning while you're still here, and for your planning for your next step, so that you can make sure you transfer over the right credits, right? Because we already did 3 things now. We identified what are some potential schools we could look into. We compared the different schools that we were interested in. We found out what's more important to us. Is it cost? Is it the major? Is it graduation rates? You can get all that from College Navigator and from College Scorecard. And then with Transferology, you're able to type in the courses that you've taken here with us to make sure that they're going to transfer over to the university you want to go to, right? And so you have those 3 tools that are good to kind of help you get started with this transfer process, to be able to ensure that you're on the right track to maximize the number of credits that you can possibly transfer over, right? Any questions on Transferology? Anything that maybe didn't make sense or wasn't clear?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes. Who is that?
Joshua, Jay Rivera.
Joshua. Okay. How's it going?
Going good. By the way, check your email for me. But anyways, going back to this, I see when you're breaking down the mechanical engineering, which actually that's what I'm going for.
Nice.
There's certain classes that are not there at all. Can you scroll down and show that? Like you can't take any classes at Morton for that specific requirement that they have.
Yeah, let's see. So are you talking about like here where there's no green?
Yes.
Right. So that's a good point. So in this report, that's why I mentioned if you see green, then you can take it here with us. And if you don't, that's usually for one of two reasons. Either we don't have an exact course that's the same, or like you see here, this stat 361. Once you start getting into these number codes, 300s, 400s, the 300s are usually junior level courses. So us being a 2 year school, we would only offer 100 and 200 level courses, freshman, sophomore year status classes. So anything 300 and 400, we're not going to have an equivalent for. But what this lays out for you is here are all the classes you're probably going to need to take. If there's something in green, then you could possibly take this at Morton before transferring out. If there isn't a green class yet, or if there isn't a green class on there, then that means that's a class you're going to need to take at UIC because we don't offer it. So that's a good question. So it doesn't mean like you need to find something or you won't be able to transfer in because there's nothing in green there. It just means these are classes that we don't offer equivalents to and that you're going to probably need to take at UIC. Good question.
All right, thank you.
Did that make sense? Did that answer your question?
Yeah, have you gotten information from somebody that actually went from Morton to UIC with the mechanical engineering in mind? Because there's plenty here that you have to do over there, but would they still accept somebody from Morton that only has, let's say, 25% of, because right here it looks like you have 100% classes, but only 25% you can do at Morton.
Right. So each university is going to have a maximum number of credits you can take. So sometimes students come here and they're undecided and they end up taking a few classes, trying to figure things out. And then you decide, okay, I want to do mechanical engineering. And then when you realize for mechanical engineering, I need to take the English, these chemistries, these advanced math, these physics. And so by the time you're done taking these, you're going to be well over the number of credits you need to complete our degree. So then what UIC says is we're not going to take all of your 90 or 80 credits if that's what you took. We're taking each major is a little different. Some say we're taking 50, some say we can take up to 60, 62 credits, but they're only going to pull the classes that apply to their major. So like if you took business 101 and it's not necessary for engineering, they're going to kind of leave that as a credit to the side. And if you have all these other credits, they're going to only pull the ones that they need for your major.
Right,
So
I get you now.
a student can transfer to UIC or any other university before you earn your degree. If you do that, you have, I think it tells you up here, you need to have at least 24 to 36 hours to be considered a transfer student. If you are less than that, then you're considered kind of like a high school student still coming in and you have to submit your high school transcripts, ACT transcripts and things like that. But what happens is, that's a good question to bring up too, because what happens is when students transfer without having all of these courses, for example, let's say you don't have chemistry 105 or any of these maths, and you want to go into mechanical engineering at UIC because you're done with your degree here, you can still transfer over, but UIC is going to say, hey, if you got a good GPA, we'll accept you to become a UIC student. We'll put you under the College of Liberal Arts as a general student. And then if you want to go into engineering, you still can while you're here at UIC. You're going to start taking these chemistries, you're going to start taking these math classes. And then as you pass these classes, then you can do kind of like what they do is an internal transfer. You can go from the College of Liberal Arts to the College of Engineering. So you're transferring from one college in UIC to the other college at UIC. So that's a possibility. Most students don't usually do that because if you can take calculus 1 with us and pay our price as opposed to going to UIC and paying their price, most students usually try to save themselves some money and take the class with us and then transfer out. You know, it's rare when a student is like, I just want to go. There are some students that are kind of just ready to go to that university, right? And they're like, I don't care if I take calculus 1 over there or not. Like, I need to just go to the university. You can do that. as long as you have the minimum number of credits that they ask for as a transfer student.
I get what you mean. It makes sense to and logical to actually complete all the greens. Like right now, I'm in chemistry, so I would just continue doing all those greens until I'm at that point where okay, it's time to transfer. But I get what you mean.
Exactly.
Thank you. It
And
saves money too.
yeah, and one of the things we're not talking about here is what you're bringing up now is, okay, I'm following this roadmap, and now what, right? So making that connection to that university partner as soon as possible is crucial. So what I like to tell students and try to do for students right away is, if you tell me what school you're going to, I'm seeing what resource or what person I can connect you to at that university, right? So you can start that conversation with them and make sure that whatever we're planning for you here is exactly what they need. And so I always tell students, we need to work backwards. Let's reach out to the university. Let's make sure they tell you the information that's correct on what you need. And then let's make a plan based on that info, right? So the faster you can connect, and these are just kind of supplemental resources, right? So everything we're showing today is like things you can do on your own to kind of prepare for that meeting when you actually talk to somebody, right? And so these are 3 resources that we hope that you all can use. If you haven't been aware of these 3, please log in, create an account for Transferology. For the other 2, you don't need to create accounts. They're free services. You can just look on to their website and use that information there. So we've got these 3. And then the final one that I wanted to show you all was just on our website. We have, let's see here, off of our homepage. This one. Off of our website, we've got some additional resources that you all have access to for different universities. One of the first things that you'll see is transfer guides. So again, these are just other places where you can kind of access the university, get some information, possibly contact info. This transfer guides page has a list of universities that you can choose from, right? So you'll see the school logos here, and each page brings you up to their admissions page where you can look up transfer resources that they have. So for example, here we're looking at our Aurora University. When you click on their link, it brings you right up to their transfer website, brings up their transfer guides, brings up their information on their staff. So if you're interested in Aurora University, you click on that link, pulls up a staff info, you have someone to contact right away, right? So we have multiple universities on the transfer guide link. And the other resource I wanted to highlight off of our website is our transfer agreements page. So we have the transfer guides for pretty much all the universities in Illinois for the most part. And then we've got these transfer agreements. And these transfer agreements are a good thing to know if you're a student here and looking to transfer. So these agreements, let me show you what we have on our website. These agreements vary by institution, and what they are basically agreements between us and the university that say, hey, if our students go to Morton, they can transfer over to this university with a smooth transfer process. Oftentimes, these partnerships have a guaranteed admission, which means like, hey, if you're a part of this program while you're here with us at Morton, you're going to get guaranteed admission to this university if you follow these guidelines, right? So they'll have these guidelines. Other programs with other universities are specific to a certain major, right? So if you're going to this school, you're going for this major, here's a partnership we might have that'll help you make that transfer process a lot easier. The first one you see on here is the 3+1 partnership with Benedictine University, and this is specific to nursing. So in this case, if a student was interested in nursing, we have a program with Benedictine where the 3 years are for Morton College. You get your degree in 2, you take an extra 3rd year, which is like your junior year, and then your +1 is your final year from Benedictine. And in that final year, you're actually receiving a bachelor's of science in nursing. So you've received our associate's degree in 2 years. You took an extra third year of some more gen eds. And then your fourth year is from Benedictine, and you earn a bachelor's of science in nursing. And what's also cool about this program is that Benedictine actually comes to our campus and teaches the classes here. So you could get a bachelor's in nursing without ever leaving Morton from Benedictine University. So that's an example of one that's very specific to one school and very specific to one program. We have a few other ones. DePaul is a popular one. DePaul and UIC have a similar program. With DePaul, it's called DAP, okay, DePaul Admission Partnership Program. And they have a participation form that you can click on from their website. And so does UIC. I'll go to UIC just to show you what theirs looks like. Both of these schools has very similar. UIC's partnership program is called the University of Illinois TAG program, Transfer Admission Guarantee. So what these partnerships do is they'll have you fill out a participation form, which basically tells the university, hey, I'm at Morton right now, but I'm interested in going to your school. And so then these different programs have different guidelines. And so, for example, for UIC and DePaul, you might tell them, I'm interested in going to your school for business. You fill out the participation form. They tell you the guidelines on what you need to do while you're still at Morton to get that guaranteed admission. So, for example, they might tell you, you must have these courses complete within this period at Morton. You must have at least a 3.0 GPA by the time you're graduated from Morton and have these classes complete. And then when you apply, you get guaranteed admission into our program. So there isn't that stress of, am I going to get into your school or not? Through some of these programs like the UIC guaranteed admission, you get guaranteed that you're going to be admitted into their program if you've completed the courses that you need. So we'll use that mechanical engineering example that we kind of talked about earlier. That one will give you something like this, right? So you're interested in UIC, you're interested in getting guaranteed admission to UIC, and you already know you're interested in mechanical engineering. So let's pull up the UIC TAG website. They have programs listed under here that qualify for this TAG partnership. And so we're trying to find out, does my program qualify? Does my major qualify? And so this is all the majors that qualify for TAG. Engineering is in here. Mechanical engineering is in here. So now we know mechanical engineering is a program that I can fall into for TAG. And it's telling me the required courses that I must have complete at Morton, additional requirements that I must also have complete at Morton. And then these are recommended. I don't necessarily need to have these done, but it's recommended. So this one is just one class. So for this program, if I want to do mechanical engineering and I want to go to UIC as a TAG student to get guaranteed admission, complete all these courses here, and I must have at least a 3.0 GPA by the time I'm done with these courses. If I do that, I'm guaranteed admission to UIC under this program.
Okay, would you be able to assist us with the specific, I would say, class comparison to that? Because like, you know how we have on the right side, we have physics 141. What does that match with us? What does 142 match with us?
So that's a great question. So this is where that transferology comes in, right? So if you have the transferology account, now you're going in there and you're looking up UIC, you're putting in this course code, you're selecting Morton College as your comparison school, and then it's going to show up with our course code, right? And so we have a little bit of time here. Let me show you what that looks like. So we have our transferology. I see, I keep using them as an example because they use transferology really well. And so it's easy for us to compare these schools. Some schools do a better job than others. if it doesn't have transferology for their school, then what we usually tell students is like, let's reach out to the school and make sure that we know what's transferring over. Okay, so now, like I said, this one's a little different from the student side, but on the student side, you're able to list courses the same way here. So let's say you're going into UIC, we said, right? University of Illinois at Chicago. Okay, so now we've selected UIC. We're going to be transferring from Morton College. Okay. And we want to find out what some of those classes were, right? And so one of those classes was like the physics. And so we go into their courses. Here's their physics, either one of these. I think they had it listed like this. Okay, so now we can see for UIC, their PHS 141 is our PHY 105. And that was one of the class. So PHS 141 and 142, those were some of the schools that they had. Here it is, physics 141 and 142. So these are the UIC codes. We use Transferology because now we're trying to figure out, well, what class is that for Morton? And that's where you find out on Transferology what course it is that is equivalent. So that's a perfect example of like, okay, I figured out where I'm going. I know what major and I know what classes I need, but now I have the university class codes. What is that for Morton, right? This is where Transferology can be a huge help, where you can input those course codes and then find out the direct equivalent. Did that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. All right, so we have those resources available. We've got these transfer agreements on our website. The last thing I wanted to show you off of our website is, let me see, we have all these tabs up now. Here it is. Let's go back to the website. We have an awesome event coming up this semester. Aside from these workshop series, we'll be putting together these workshop series on Wednesdays at noon. The next two will be in regards to scholarships, part 1 and part 2. And then our last one will be in regards to an award letter, which is going to be presented by a DePaul representative and a UIC representative. So you'll actually get to see award letter examples from both of those universities. We have another event coming up called University Day. And I wanted to show you our website so you can see where all this information is. So if you go to our transfer website, you'll see the registration information and flyer information for our event coming up. Make sure you all know about it and share with anybody else that's at Morton College looking to transfer. Call it Virtual University Day. It will be done virtual, and it's hosted on Thursday, April 1st. It'll be from 12 to 4. You don't need to be logged in from 12 to 4. You make an appointment during that time to meet with the representative. We have a total of 11 schools participating in this event, and you need to RSVP for this event. And the way this event works is we have you RSVP by March 18th to receive up to 3 free official transcripts. And so what we do is we mail those transcripts to the universities you want to meet with. You click on the registration link here. The First one sends you to register with the universities that you want to meet with. You have to pick your time slot. And so through the Sign Up Genius, you go on this link, you get to see the list of schools that we have coming to participate in the event. And then you basically get these different time slots. They're 20-minute time slots that you can sign up for. You see St. Xavier is going to be here. And if you just go down this list, you'll see the different universities that are going to be here. So the first step is signing up with the university rep to RSVP your time slot. Then the second thing you do is you click to request your 3 free transcripts. And so you're going to tell us out of the schools that you're meeting with, up to 3 schools, which ones do you want us to send your official transcripts to? So then you fill out this form, you tell us the schools you want us to send transcripts to, and then we'll send you the link to the university so that you can apply to their school without having an application fee. If the school has an application fee, they're waiving the application fee for our students on this day. So you don't pay for transcripts, you don't pay for an application fee, and all of that stuff will be sent to the representative so that on April 1st, they'll have your official transcripts, they'll have your application on file, and they'll be able to make a decision on your acceptance. So on that day, during your 20-minute appointment, you're going to get a decision from these universities, and they're going to review your info and tell you if you've been accepted or if you've been denied. If you've been accepted, you talk about financial information, scholarships, and the cost, right? And then if you're denied, that conversation is still valuable because you get to learn, well, why did I get denied, right? Was it because my GPA was too low? Was it because I'm missing some specific courses? And then based on that feedback, you're able to then make a plan here to take classes in the summer or continue taking some up until the fall if that's what you need to do to then be able to get into that university. So it's a valuable conversation you get to have with that admissions representative. And more than anything, I think it's helpful for you all to be able to eliminate that stress of having to wait, from that moment when you send out your application to the moment to where you get your response. That period in between can be very stressful and waiting to see, am I going to get in or not? Right. And so at this event, not every university does this. So we reached out to a few that are within our area, relatively close, and the schools that agreed to do Unspotted Missions, we invited them to this event. And so you do have to RSVP by March 18th to get free transcripts. If you do RSVP after that, you can still participate, but then they do charge you for your transcripts to get mailed out. But this is an event that's coming up that is tailored for transfer students, and you don't necessarily need to be graduating. Like I said, if you're interested in transferring before you get your degree, that is allowed as well. You just want to make sure that you apply and RSVP for this event before March 18th. And on that day, you'll be getting unspotted missions decisions from the schools that you meet with. So this is something that's coming up. Feel free to share this information with your friends or anybody else that you know is at Morton College. We're extending this invite to alumni students from last year. We know a lot of our students that graduated decided to maybe take a year off or not go to the university right away. So if they're MC alumni, we're allowing them to participate in this event as well. I threw out a lot of information, and hopefully some of it was helpful. If you found at least one thing to be helpful from this, you can make my day by giving me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself about any of the info, about anything coming up. Cool. Yes, I'm getting thumbs up. I'm already smiling. Thank you all so much. If you don't have any questions, that concludes my presentation for today. Keep an eye on your email on the website for the upcoming workshops. And if you have any questions for me or an advising, please reach out to us at advising@morton.edu, or you can reach us at 708-656-8000 at extension 2250. That's all I have for you all. Thank you all so much. Yep. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Um, you know how you mentioned like they have like different prices for like colleges.
Yeah.
Um, does it matter? Like, does the price is equal for like all majors, or does that vary?
That's a good question. And at some universities, it's a flat rate. This is how much it is for all students. And then we were using UIC a lot as an example today. There's some schools like UIC that'll charge you just a little bit different based on the major. And it's usually like the business, the science, like the engineering, those types of majors that usually have a little bit of a higher tuition cost. And it's usually not too much more. It might be like 1,000, maybe $1,500 more than the regular tuition for like a, like a sociology degree or something like liberal arts degree. But some schools do have a little bit of a cost difference when it comes to the majors.
Okay, thank you. It's
Yeah,
because
no.
like I did apply last year. I mean, I decided to end up in Morton College, right? But like before I did, and it was just my question because I was thinking that like maybe double majoring, but I never asked like if that was like a different price or not.
Yeah, and you can double major. So those are conversations you want to have with the reps, right? So you want to reach out and find out like, hey, if I'm majoring in this, is there a price difference? And if I double major, like how does that look like for me time wise? How long might it take me to finish both of these? Sometimes it might be better to do a major and a minor instead of a double major.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
good
right.
questions, man. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
All right, Christian, you take care.
You too.
All right, bye.